'Cause I'm sad but I am happy. For today I chose to wake, not sail away to another world. Sail away to another world. 'Cause I've lost friends and I've lost lovers. Despite their best, they draw their breath. Sail away to another world, world, world. Oh, oh, world. 'Cause I will roll into misty coves. I will grow till I find my home. I will roll into misty coves. I will grow till I find my home. When I am old and I am crazy, I'll pack my boat, what I love most, bid farewell to this world. I'll bid farewell to this world. All my friends, yeah, they'll be waiting. There they'll stand with beers in hand. Welcome home to our world, world. Oh, world. 'Cause I will roll into misty coves. I will grow till I find my home. I will roll into misty coves. I will grow till I find my home. Till I find my home. Hold me tonight. Hold me tonight. Hold me tonight. Hold me tonight. Whoa, whoa. 'Cause I will roll into misty coves. I will grow till I find my home. I will roll into misty coves. I will grow till I find my home. Thank you very much indeed. I'm just going to play one more wee song while folks are getting back to their seats. I'd say thank you very much again for having me, and big thanks to the big DI as well for letting me play. It's a song called Take It Off. There's a cross you choose to bear. Wear it proud around your neck. There's a strain you choose to take. Screams at night and darkens days. So take it off. Take it off. Take it off. Take it off. 'Cause you could be a bright light, lighting up the night, a bright light, lighting up the sky a bright light, lighting up the night. 'Cause you could be a bright light, lighting up the night a bright light, lighting up the sky a bright light, lighting up the night. Throw that weight down to the ground. Take a bath and sweat it out. You can be what you choose to be. What you choose to be is free. So take it off. Take it off. Take it off. Just take it off. You could be a bright light, lighting up the night a bright light, lighting up the sky a bright light, lighting up the night. You could be a bright light, lighting up the night a bright light, lighting up the sky a bright light, lighting up the night. Yeah, we come undone. And yeah, we come undone. And yeah, we come undone. And yeah, we come undone. We come undone. We come undone. So take it off. Take it off. Just take it off. Take it off. You could be a bright light, lighting up the night a bright light, lighting up the sky a bright light, lighting up the night. Yeah, you could be a bright light, lighting up the night a bright light, lighting up the sky a bright light, lighting up the night. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Just want to thank Gaz for playing. Great singer-songwriter. And I want to thank my other son, Jamie, who's put this worldwide wake-up tour together. He's done an absolutely fantastic job. And then, hey, Jay, bow. Jamie, fantastic job. And we're going to have a bit of a break. Well, not a break. We're not just going to travel, and then we start a world tour of evening events in the spring, and that will go on for as long as I'm standing, really. So we'll we have a window here to sort this out. We better put our heads together and get on with it, I think. So what are we going to do about all this? Now, of course, one reaction could be, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? I want me mum." That's one way of doing it. And then there's to realize that actually, you know, we're all consciousness, we're infinite awareness, we are eternal awareness, having an eternal experience within the infinity of forever. That's as bad as it gets. We're just having a little experience now, which we might like to make into a nicer experience, but we are always have been, always will be, infinite awareness, a point of attention within infinite awareness, having an experience, whatever that experience is. That's as bad as it gets. I don't think we should panic over that. It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. And it is what it is. We're just facing a situation where we're in a spot of bother. But it needs to be seen against this background of this is just an experience within forever. So let's get too shaky backboned about it. The other thing that I would emphasize in the relation to the one-eyed man is king, being king in the kingdom of the blind, is that this, whatever you call it, archons, whatever this, the different cultures call it a different force, different name, but it's the same force. There is a common theme, and that is that this force is terrified of humans awakening. because it has to hold us in this tiny band of low-frequency awareness for this control system to continue. Once we come out of that, it's over. And this is what we're facing. We're being held in this band of low frequency, i.e. low frequency perception, a narrow, limited perception, and that is the prison. It's just a band of frequency. And we can break out of that whenever we like, whenever we choose to re-self-identify with being infinite awareness rather than little me and all the names and phantom self tags that we give it. And this is why, when I'm talking about what we can do about it, I'm not talking about creating organizations and doing this and doing that, because things like that will come from the change of consciousness. If we don't change consciousness, you can have all the organizations in the world and nothing will ever change. It's like Einstein said, you cannot change or solve problems with the same level of consciousness that created them, and that's what we're doing all the time. We've got to go to another level of consciousness, and anyone that cracks on that we can change anything of substance without doing that is kidding themselves and kidding everybody else. This is the cause of the problem. Because of our perceptual prison, we're interacting with the quantum field of possibility and probability at that frequency band level, and that feedback loop is creating the world we're living in. We expand our awareness, and by doing that, by expanding our sense of self from little me to infinite me, that raises the frequency, expands the range at which we're connecting with possibility and probability in the quantum field, and then creates a different feedback loop, which creates a completely different world. If we're trying to change the world in the world, which is a projection, we're never going to change it, ever. We get more and more frustrated. More and more revolutions followed by people in charge that reflect the people before the revolution, because the consciousness is still the same. This will be sorted out not in this world, but in other levels of consciousness which create the feedback loop. It's the feedback loop that needs to change. This is the cause. This is removing the cause. And if anyone tries to tell anybody that that cause can be removed without doing this, they are kidding themselves, like I say. We are imprisoned by the walls we build for ourselves, and we've allowed to be built for us by the perceptual download we've taken on. And that's fantastic news, because if we built them, we can take them down. And crucial to this is deleting the frickin' program and getting off the postage stamp consensus. The very fact that people are here means they're doing that. But this needs to happen on a vastly greater scale. And it is happening. As I've gone around the world in the last 18 months, I have seen tremendous numbers of people going through this process of reassessing how they see the world, how they see reality, how they see themselves. And it's not just the numbers, it's the type of people, system people, who you'd never think would break out of that perceptual stranglehold. They're doing it, and they're questioning things for the first time, things they never have before. But this program has got to go, this perceptual program, which is holding us in this feedback loop that's creating this world collectively and individually. Can you remember who you were before the world told you what you should be? We have to stop having external forces, whether it's family, children, bosses, media, religions, any of them. We have to stop them telling us who we should be. And that includes anybody. When I say we are all the same consciousness, I don't mean we're all the frickin' same. Oh, I'm infinite consciousness, oh my. That's not that. That's what happens that's when you withdraw into phantom self. That's where you get this pseudo-randomness where everyone acts the frickin' same, basically. What we are points of attention within is infinite possibility. All that is, has been, and ever can be. Thus, to celebrate diversity, to celebrate uniqueness, to celebrate being a unique point of attention within infinite awareness is to celebrate the fact that we are all the same consciousness. But we are not all the same perspective within the infinite potential of perspectives. Thus celebrating diversity, spontaneity, maverick thinking is to celebrate who we are, which is an aspect of all possibility. Alan Watts said, waking up to who you are requires letting go of what you imagine yourself to be. Awakening to expanded consciousness is nothing more than removing that which holds us from being what we are, which is expanded consciousness. And that is the imagination of ourselves that Bill Hicks talked about. The download of the imagination of ourselves, which someone else has told us what to imagine. It's got to go. We must celebrate uniqueness and be what we choose to be. And if anyone doesn't like it, well, they can do the other thing, because that's all right. You be what you want to be. Don't tell me what I'm going to be. We need to awaken to the world as it really is, awaken to the true self. And it's because we've been asleep from that this world that we've created has been manifested. It's manifested from that slumber. When we cease to slumber, when we wake up and become the true nature of who we are, the world must change, because the world is a projection of our state of consciousness. Our state of consciousness changes, the world must change. This is how we're going to change the world. Not stockpiling weapons, not fighting the opposition as we perceive them, but simply thinking it, imagining it, becoming something beyond it, so that we cease to experience the world as it is, and we create another manifestation of a world, of another perception of awareness, consciousness. I am not what has happened to me. I am what I choose to be now. What has gone, it doesn't matter. Oh, that what she did to me in 1963, I've never forgot it. Well, I'm sure she has. You know, what are you carrying it for? Forget it. Oh, I'm so regret doing that. Oh, okay, it's an experience. It's gone. You are now where you are, and a new page can be written anytime you choose. No matter what you've been. I don't care if you're 7 or 70, 80. Doesn't matter. It's just a number within an experience. What you are and always has been, whether you're 7 or 70, is a point of attention within infinite awareness, which can re-evaluate its perception of everything anytime it chooses. Doesn't matter what's gone before. You can change it anytime you want. And one way that this can be done symbolically is just to go back to a blank sheet of paper. Never mind what we've been told, what to think, how things are. Never mind. Never mind you've got letters after your name. Doesn't matter if you're a newsreader. Not bothered. To get on my perception blank sheet of paper, it's got to earn its place now. I don't care who said it. I don't care where I get it from. It's got to come through me. What do I feel about it? Does it feel right to me? Does it convince me that I should put that in my perception and my perception of how things are? Because if it doesn't, leave it. And it's amazing when you go through this process of looking at where you get your perceptions from. It's incredible. It was somebody here who passed on for somebody there, and they knew this, or it was a teacher 20 years ago, whatever. And these form perceptions, which invariably turn out to be total crap, total bollocks with no substance. And we can go to that blank sheet of paper and let perceptions earn their place instead of just downloading them without thought. Who am I? What is this I? If you said that to most people, they say, I am name, race, sex, job, family history, income bracket, and life story. That's what we're experiencing. Same with Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Jew, New Ager. It doesn't matter. It's an experience. It's not who we are. Who am I? What is this I, this real I? We can be little me I, that's a perception, or we can be infinite me I. And the difference between those two perceptions are massively different frequencies, which manifest massively different feedback loops, which manifest massively different ongoing experience. And it's in our power to change that anytime we want. When we choose not to self-identify with the experience, the little me, but to self-identify with infinite awareness having an experience as that so-called little me, which is just a perception. You can change that anytime you like. You can change it tonight. You can change it in the morning. It's just a re-evaluation. You know, I've said in the new book, people tried for a month or so, just going around self-identifying, being infinite, expanded awareness, having an experience, and interact with people on that basis. Not because you're superior, I'm infinite awareness now, because everyone else is, they're just forgotten. But just to come from that self-identity and see how, as you interact with possibility and probability from that new expanded state of self-identity, how life will change, how things will change, how people will change, how maybe some people come into your life, people go out, other opportunities may come in, and others go out, because you're interacting with possibility and probability on a different frequency level purely by that re-self-identification from little me to infinite me. I was saying there, you can see in the auric field, as our perceptions change and our mental and emotional states change, the colors change in the aura because we're changing frequency. Frequency is the key. That's a frequency, low vibrational frequency, holds us in servitude. That is an expanded high frequency, takes us out of servitude, takes us out of the perceptual prison. That's why they don't want people in a state of love and thanks and appreciation. They want people in a state of hate, because that's the prison, that's the program. You can see here the difference between polluted water and polluted water that's had another perceptual frequency downloaded to it. Totally different state of being. These are so symbolic of the different worlds and lives that we lead when we operate on different frequencies. And we can change it any time we want. In some schools in America, not many, of course, but some, instead of punishing children when they act in ways that the school doesn't like, they allow them to go into a room and just meditate. Just meditate. And that meditation changes perception. Instead of the anger and the frustration and the lashing out, which is a low frequency state, they go into a meditative state which allows them to go in a higher frequency state. Everything calms down, and their behavior, according to these studies, has dramatically changed as a result, because they're changing frequencies. What is waking up, really? It's regaining control of perception, which humanity has lost. And perception is frequency. Our perceptions decide everything: what action we take, what action we don't take, what we'll do, what we won't do. And crucially, they manifest as frequencies. So the low vibrational perception of the program, the postage stamp, is a low frequency state, and we're interacting with the potential probability and possibility at that level. When we go into a high frequency state, we change where we're interacting with possibility and probability, and everything changes. This is, it sounds trite, it sounds simple, it sounds even simplistic, but it is actually the way we got into this mess, and this is the way we get out of it. And if we're going to try doing it any other way, well, please be my guest, whoever wants to try it. But we'll come back here 10 years from now and we'll be looking at the same world. Because perception decides how we interact with reality and what reality we manifest. This is why people that have a perception that nothing ever happens to them that is good have a life where nothing ever happens to them that is good. Not because it has to be like that. They have created the feedback loop that creates that, and they blame other people for it, which does nothing but keep the feedback loop going. Expanded possibility equals expanded awareness folded into existence. Limited possibility, limited reality folded into existence. This is the transformation where this world can change dramatically very quickly. Because if you change the feedback loop, your experience changes. Not tomorrow, not when there's an R in the month, not 5 years from now. It changes, immediately starts to change. What is this I? Pure awareness. Pure awareness. If we can self-identify with pure awareness and go beyond self-identification with the labels, everything changes. Everything changes because we are no longer in this world alone. We are in this world in terms of the body. We're not of this world in terms of our perceptions of the body. Everything looks different. Everything changes. You can see things you could never see before. Everything becomes clearer and clearer, which that will never allow you to be. And that's what it's all about. That's what the program is all about. What I'm talking about now is basically reversing what has been done to us. Because this force in the background, deep in the shadows, it understands how all this works. The prime minister of this country or that country won't necessarily understand, probably won't understand, probably hasn't got a clue. But where it's all coming from understands that if you can create the feedback loop, they got you. And that's what they're doing. The low vibrational perception equals a low vibrational feedback loop equals a low vibrational human society. And we're running around trying to change it when we can't change it unless the feedback loop changes. So this is why they're trying to hold us in this programmed perceptual state, to hold us in the feedback loop, which is the world that we keep going round and round and round in. Once that is removed, that perceptual prison is removed, and we become self-identified with pure awareness, having an experience, everything changes. You know, people talk about seeking enlightenment. Waste of time. What's anyone seeking enlightenment for? We are enlightened. We are all that is has been and ever can be. I'm more enlightened to it's what I want to be. It's not about becoming enlightened. It's about removing the perceptual programs that hold our five-sense awareness in perceptual servitude to those programs and disconnect us from the true self, which is enlightenment. And it's removing these, like they are like onion skins of programming and perception. That's what's holding us in servitude. It's no good seeking enlightenment. We are enlightened. Get rid of that and we become enlightened, which is why I put this picture up of a sluice gate. You know, when you put the sluice gate down and you stop the river fly, which is like these onion skins of programming holding out the true self to have a perceptual influence on the five-sense self. When you open the sluice gate again, you don't have to go through the sluice gate and shout the river and tell the river, I've opened the sluice gate now, you can come in again. No, open the sluice gate, whoosh! And this is what's happening. Our expanded awareness is pushing on these programs, these perceptual programs. It wants to get in. And some people will have a brief moment, a brief experience when they make that connection and they think, oh, something happened to me today. I can't explain it. There was a brief connection and then it shut again. Once we start deleting these programs, and most of them are self-identity programs, how we self-identify, who is the I, what we identify the I as. We can get rid of them by saying, I am infinite awareness. These are just experiences. Then that allows enlightenment in. The enlightenment we always have been and always will be and forever will be. And then everything changes. My waters breaking happened on a mound in Peru. And for 3 months, I didn't know what my name is, where I was going, what was happening, nothing. I went on the television. I was interviewed in a mainstream big audience show, as you saw earlier. Right in the middle of that, I didn't know what was going on. Because as those programs were broken, those perceptual programs, the true self came in, and so much information poured into my conscious mind that I just couldn't immediately process it. It was like pressing too many keys on the computer, as the video said right at the start. But after it had all settled down, took about 3 months of mayhem, I was looking through the same eyes. I weren't seeing the same world. Because my point of perception had changed. My point of observation has changed. And that's when I started saying these strange things, which have actually proved to be right as the years have come on. Not because I'm a genius or the Buddha sitting on a mountain, but because that is the way this perception presented this information to me. And anyone can do it. Anybody. Anybody can break these perceptual onion skins that are holding and stopping that happening. And that's what awakening is. It's not particularly waking up as removing the programs that are stopping that connection to the true self. What do I think and why do I think and believe what I do? Where does it all come from? You look at religions and other perceptual programs They're just off-the-peg belief systems which have been passed through the ages. What are we doing believing religions from so far back and rejecting so much evidence that there are other ways of looking at the world other than the religion, but we can't because the religion's got us. And there are so many religions. It's not just bricks and mortar and frock and mitre religions. Following a football team can be a religion. The religion of scientism, where the scientific orthodoxy is the holy book of the science religion. There's so many religions. What are religions? They are rigid belief systems that repel all borders. And when we fall for them, there's the onion skins that are keeping us from expanded awareness of the true self. We need to let them go and start again with that blank sheet of paper and say, anything gets on there, he's got to earn its place this time through me. Not just going to put it on there because someone's told me. I'm going to decide what goes on there. Why do I do what I do? Why is everyone in such a frickin' rush? I must get there. Well, get where? Where? Why? People in a hurry, but to get where? Why? Why are we rushing? Oh, we got to do it. Who says? Who's deciding it? Who's driving this reaction society that we live in? I went to Hong Kong once. It was like someone had shouted fire 20 years ago and they're still running. What? Where are they running to? Why are there so many buses and trams? Where are they all going? Why are we chasing this carrot? Who put the carrot there? Who decided what the carrot should be? Oh yeah, I've got to do this. Who said? We need to reevaluate what we want to do. Not what we are expected to do, not what our parents expect us to do, not what society expects us to do, not what our boss expects us to do. What do I want to do with my life? What do I, unique expression of all that is, want to do with my life? Because I'm going to decide that. And because I know, when I say I mean all of us, because I know that my perception is interacting with the probability and possibility quantum field and creating a feedback loop, I don't have to sit there thinking, I can't do this because I haven't got the money. I can't do this because of this. I can't do this because of that. If you go into a perceptual state of knowing, not thinking, not hoping, knowing that when you go for what you want to do, rather than what society is telling you to do, you will, because of that knowing, that perception, you will make that connection with possibility and probability, and you will manifest everything you need to do what you want to do. That is self-creation. That is what we are supposed to be doing. Instead, we don't do that because we think of the material world and think, well, I can't do that because this stops me, that stops me. That perception of I can't do that because this stops me creates a feedback loop with possibility and probability, which manifests as a life in which that stops you. It's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. We need to understand the true power that we have to manifest our own reality once we understand how we're doing it. And then we cannot be controlled. We cannot be controlled because we are doing the controlling, doing the manifesting. People have said to me, how are you still alive? And I say, because they can't do anything other than leave me alive. Because if I will not allow that into my perception of possibility, it cannot manifest in the world of experience. Thus, they can't take me out. They do not have the power. I have that power because I know who I am and who we all are. No more. What you find when you go into this mode of knowing where the power is, knowing your power is people try to do this to you and try to do that to you, and they think they've won and they punch the air, and then suddenly something comes up which makes it all right, which makes it happen against all the odds. Oh, how did that happen? That's how it happened. Feedback loop. I manifested it. The people around me manifested it because they knew their power, that they were controlling their lives, not some external force. This external force controls our lives because it has persuaded us through the heading of authority that authority has more power than we do. No, it doesn't. We have total power over our lives. We just need to take it back by understanding where it comes from. That's power. That's success. It's madness. And we fall for it. It's like Bill Hicks said, they lie about marijuana. Tell you pot smoking makes you unmotivated. Lie. When you're high, you can do everything you normally do just as well. You just realize it's not worth the fucking effort. All these things we do because we think we have to do them, and just to survive. And on the surface, in the world of the holographic illusion, it does seem like that. But if we can realize how we're manifesting reality, we don't need to be controlled by the constraints of, well, I need to do this to survive, so I can't do what I really want to do. We need to go for it with that knowledge, with that knowing, and realize that it will all work out. Because it's a musical thing. And we're supposed to sing and dance. Not worry, oh my God, what a world. What's going to happen tomorrow? We're supposed to sing and dance. And real religion is the transformation of anxiety into laughter. We do not laugh enough. We need to laugh because the world is mad. It's insane. Why do we take it seriously? This is an indigenous Australian proverb. We are all visitors to this time, this place. We're just passing through. Our purpose here is to observe, to learn, to grow, to love. And then we return home to infinity. No mention there about, I must succeed, I must be someone. I'm all that is, has been, and never can be. And I must be someone. It's madness. And only perceptual imprisonment cannot see the madness. What is success? Well, success is a lot of money and a big car and being famous, and then people think you're successful, and that's good. Who gives a shit what other people think? Whether we're successful or not. What's it matter? As long as we're doing what we want to do, it doesn't matter if people perceive it as successful or not. It doesn't matter. Why do we make it matter? Insecurity. That's why we make it matter. What is success? If you look at the success of the world of the illusion, the program, it's all about more. How much more money than last year? How much more status? How much more is taken from the earth and turned into more things that people don't really want? How many more things are made? How much more land is covered in concrete? How many more are treated for illness? They're always saying in Britain, we're treating more people than ever before. Why? Why are so many people ill? They don't see that. Why don't we stop people being ill and then we don't have to treat so many people because so many people need treatment? No, we're treating more people than ever before. It's all about more. How much more growth? Economic growth. Oh, yes, that's the symbol of success. More growth this year. Economic growth is the measurement of the amount of money generated in goods and services in any year. And so when there's a terrible environmental disaster, cleaning it up adds to economic growth because of what is spent to clean it up. Now, wisdom success, expanded consciousness success is very different. It doesn't count its success in more, but in fewer. How few are in need than last year? How few are unhappy? How few feel unloved? How few are unfulfilled? How few are homeless? How few are ill? How few are in fear? They are measurements of the true success of a society, not the mores, the fewers. How am I happy? Are you successful? Let me see. Am I happy? No. Oh, well, I've got this job. No. Are you happy? Well, not really. Well, that's not very successful. Why are you not happy? If you want to be successful, find out why you're not happy and then Become happy, become joyous. Do I have joy in my life? Am I at peace? Do I love my life? Doesn't matter what you're doing. Doesn't matter how much money you make or don't make. Doesn't matter where you live. Do I love my life? Am I at peace? Do I have joy? Am I happy? They are the symbols of true success, not more and more accumulation of things. It's a musical thing. You're supposed to sing and dance. And this is a near-death experiencer who said, I've never interviewed anyone who had a near-death experience who told me that they came back to make more money or to spend more time at their jobs away from their families. Instead, they become convinced that they need to be more loving and kind. They react to their experience by living life to its fullest. They believe their lives have a purpose, even if that purpose is obscure to them. Invariably, it involves concepts such as love or of family or service to others. Nothing there about more, I must succeed. So, what's the answer? It's not finding a solution to what's going on. That's how we got into this mess. It's removing the cause of the problem. You can put your hand in a saucepan and wait for it to cool down, or you can find a solution. Oh, can you get me some ointment? Or you can remove the cause of the problem, and then the problem's finished with. The cause of the problem is that we are not conscious beyond mind. Most people are not conscious beyond mind. Removing the problem is becoming conscious beyond mind. Becoming into a state of not pixel awareness, seeing only the pieces, but picture awareness, seeing how the pieces fit. And you can only see how the pieces fit with expanded awareness. As awareness expands, the picture becomes clearer and clearer. As it contracts, it goes into pixels and pieces, and you can't see anything except individual things that don't seem to be connected. We need to move from body-mind awareness into infinite awareness, and that comes from self-identifying with infinite awareness, and from that, everything else comes. As Ibn Alexander said, to experience thinking outside the brain is to enter a world of instantaneous connections that make ordinary thinking seem like some hopelessly sleepy and plodding event. This world that we're experiencing, that he experienced beyond, is a world of village idiocy compared with what there is to experience beyond it. Our truest, deepest self is completely free. It is not crippled or compromised by past actions and concerned with identity or status. It comprehends that it has no need to fear the earthly world, and therefore it has no need to build itself up through fame or wealth or conquest. Am I happy? Do I have joy? Do I love my life? The true symbols of success. My daughter Kerry, she went to live in Africa for a while. And she lived among people that we would call in abject poverty. She said, I've never met so many happy people in my life, because they understood with their material deprivation what really mattered. And it wasn't what it would be to materialistic people in the Western world. Are you your heart or your brain? A study said most people define themselves through the brain and not through the heart. Again, we changed that, we changed the world, because it's moving from a heart connection with reality to a head and gut connection that has pulled us into this low vibrational state. The lady who runs the Heart Math Institute in America that studies the impact of the heart vortex, the heart chakra, the heart point of intelligence, said that she had this technique when she was a therapist, where she would put the client in a chair and she would sit in the other chair, and she would ask the client to tell them their problem from their head. And she would listen and write it all down, and symbolically they would change chairs. And she said, now tell me your problem from your heart. What does your heart say? And she said it was like talking to two totally different people about the same problem. And the reason is, the head thinks, the heart knows. The heart comes from a much more expanded point of observation of everything, including the problem, than the head, and therefore she was, in effect, talking to two different points of observation, or, quote, people. This is thinking. This is knowing. If we can interact with each other from the heart, where empathy comes, where compassion comes, where love in its true sense comes, then all the conflicts and the divisions that manifest through interacting through the head and the gut, emotion, all start to fall away. And therefore, this is another way of removing the cause of the problem. Going from what how we think and communicate and perceive in this world of madness to something greater beyond the world of madness. And therefore, the world of madness must change because a different consciousness is being infused into it. The heart knows, the head thinks. Expanded consciousness knows, the head thinks. Which is why when you go into a state of expanded awareness and self-identity with it, you start to perceive, know things that you never thought you could ever know. You think for yourself, it will change your life. Know for yourself, it will transform your life, because that comes from here. And if, as seems to be the case, this perceptual hijack flipped the interaction between humanity of the Golden Age and before, from a heart connection with everything to a gut-head connection, then removing the cause of the problem is to flip it back and go back to the heart connection, which is our natural state. As one of the Nag Hammadi texts said, they took them and begot children out of the darkness through their counterfeit spirit. It closed their hearts. That's what it does. And if you open your heart, you're diluting the power of this counterfeit spirit, this infusion of distortion, and it ceases to have anything like the same impact upon your life, perceptions, and reactions, and eventually has none when it's completely deleted by heart awareness. It connects us to outside the bounds of time and space, which is why the heart knows, because it's connecting with that level of awareness that does know. This is low-frequency human society. This is how we get out of there, out of here. If you're in a situation and your head and your emotions are kicking in, it happens to everybody, that's the nature of the world. If you just stop for a second and go, okay, I'm now going to interact with this situation from here. You watch it diffuse, you watch it change, you watch it be resolved in a way that this will never resolve it. It's the way we get out of here. This is Bill Hicks again. This is where we are right now as a whole. No one is left out of the loop. We are experiencing a reality based on a thin veneer of lies and illusions. A world where greed is our God and wisdom is a sin. Where division is key and unity is fantasy. Where ego-driven cleverness of the mind is praised rather than the intelligence, the innate intelligence of the heart. If we flip that around, this world will be transformed. If we awaken and unite with each other through heart awareness instead of the conflict of head and emotion, everything will change. And Bill Hicks said, I'm glad mushrooms are against the law, because I took them one time, and you know what happened to me? I lay down in a field of green grass for 4 hours going, my God, I love everything. Yeah, now, if that isn't a hazard to our country, how are we going to justify arms dealing when we realize we're all one? That is what happens when you go into heart awareness. The very thought of creating weapons to kill people and suppress people and oppress people, the very thought of oppressing them in any way cannot manifest through the heart. It comes through here. That's why we live in the world that we do. We have lost the heart connection vastly in human society. I am love. You are love. We are infinite consciousness. Let's interact with each other on that basis, from that understanding. We are one. We are one. All of us are one awareness. We are points of attention within infinite awareness. All that is, has been, and ever can be. From that perception, no one's going to kill anybody. No one's going to abuse a child. No one's going to have anyone dying of hunger in a world of plenty. It can't happen from that level of consciousness. That level of consciousness wouldn't even begin to contemplate it. This is how we change the world, by changing the consciousness that's driving and manifesting the world. Remember who you are by forgetting what they told you to be. Who the hell is anyone else to tell us what we should be? No more person, no more persona, no more actor's mask, no more phantom self. As Jim Morrison of The Doors said, the most important freedom is to be what you really are. You trade your reality for a role. You trade your sense for an act. You give up your ability to feel. In exchange, you put on a mask. There can't be any large-scale revolution until there is a personal revolution on an individual level. It's got to happen inside first. But people don't want to take that responsibility. Okay, don't take it, but then don't complain the world hasn't changed, because it ain't going to change until we do. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I'm changing myself from a man in the 13th century. I woke up, letting go the onion skins of programming, of perception. I let them go. I connected with the true self. I see the world in a completely different way. My life has changed. It's become an adventure, not an ordeal. I woke up. Shit, what happened? What happened? The world looks so different. You woke up. That's what you did. The revolution is a revolution of perception. No fighting, no guns. Not even any protests, no marching. It's a revolution of perception. Here's a novel thing you don't hear much of. Why don't we just love each other? Why don't we love each other, irrespective of our religion, our culture, our race, our income bracket? Why don't we just love each other? Because we're all each other anyway. That is the revolution. If we want a world of love, what do? We love each other. If we want a world of peace, then we are peaceful. You don't fight for peace, you peace for peace. You be what you want the world to be, and then the world will become what you want it to be when enough people are willing to do the same. And even before that, your own life becomes an expression of that love, peace that you have allowed yourself to become. And people think love is weak. Oh, he's talking about love and he's a bloke. I think it's strange. People think it's weak. Oh, he's talking about love. No, I'm not talking about, like I said earlier, ooh, saw you down the disco, love you, darling, all that stuff from the 1960s when I was alive. I'm talking about love that we have to put words like unconditional in front of. Unconditional love, infinite love, to go beyond the personal love, what I call mind love, attraction love. And that is the ultimate power, weakness, because that love will always do what it knows to be right. Because the option is doing what it knows not to be right, and that is not an option for that level of awareness. Thus, it has no fear. It's the absence of fear. It doesn't need courage to overcome fear, which is what courage is, because it doesn't have fear, it doesn't need courage, nothing to overcome. Therefore, it does what it knows to be right. It doesn't think, what are the consequences for me? Because the consequences, perceiving the consequences, or perusing the consequences is actually concluding that there's a possibility, that's why I'm looking at the consequences, that I won't do what I know to be right. Love at that level will never, it doesn't perceive consequences or go through them because it would never perceive or conceive not doing what it believes to be right. So forget the consequences, that conversation's not necessary. I'm doing what I know to be right. That is a power that this manipulation cannot deal with. Its power is intimidating people into silence, into non-action. Love won't have that. It will do what it knows to be right. And thus this manipulative force in all its expressions, including authority, it cannot handle people doing that. What do you mean it's not intimidated? Everyone is intimidated. It's not intimidated. Well, what are we going to do? I don't know. I've never come across it before. Well, it's about time you did on a mass scale. And then this house of cards comes down. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that we used to create them. Einstein, as I mentioned earlier. We've got to go into this other level of consciousness awareness, or we'll never change what the consciousness and awareness of now has created. We need to move out of thinking into knowing. Let this be our guide. And this will lead you into areas where this is going, what you doing? What you doing? But this knows and perceives reality from a completely different level. So what it will do is absolutely not what this will do. But I can tell you from my own life, if you keep going with this, you keep going. When this is screaming, oh, what are you doing? And you keep going. Eventually, this observes the fact that when you go with your heart, you go with your intuition, you go with your knowing, although you might get into some scrapes because you're not doing what the world expects, eventually it all works out. And it doesn't work out despite the problem and despite the challenge. It works out because of it. And then this looks at that and goes, actually, it all works out in the end. As many years ago, I had that experience where my head and my heart came together and started speaking as one and moving as one. So when my heart, my intuition now says, I feel the need to do that, this goes, let's go. There's no war. There's no war. And anyone can do that just by following this, because this will see it in the end, even though it will scream blue murder to start with. See the virus, delete the virus. How can we see this counterfeit spirit, this distortion that's impacting itself? Well, the Native Americans have done it for us. When we get pulled into these kind of responses and emotional states, we are feeding the one most and therefore giving it the most power. So and we'll get pulled in because that's the way the world works. But if we can be aware of it, and when we get pulled into these things, just stop, hold on, I'm getting pulled in, I'm going here. Then the more you do that, you stop earlier. You stop earlier. And eventually you don't go there at all, and this is what runs your life. This wolf of joy, of love, of peace, of serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, and compassion. And when we stop feeding those, they disappear. They're deleted, they go, they stop influencing us. This is why heart awareness will delete that if only we will keep going with it. This is what psychopaths do. So, therefore, this is an expression of this distortion. So if we want to remove the cause of the problem, instead of being deleted from empathy, we have empathy. The more empathy we have, the more we are not feeding the no empathy part of our psyche, the more that is losing its power. We have forgiveness, both for ourselves and other people. Because if we don't forgive and we hold on to resentment, who's being pulled down in frequency terms by that? We are. Let it go. It's just an experience. Doesn't matter. Learn from it. Gone. Tell the truth. Because instead of being psychopathic liars like this virus and all its expressions, we tell the truth. We don't always say what's right, but we tell the truth as we feel it to be at that moment. That carries a very powerful vibration, which lying pulls us down into a lower vibration. And then, I don't quote religious words very much, but this is a cum-dinger. This is a world changer, this. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If everybody did that for 24 hours, the world would be transformed. So the power is with us, not with that which is manipulating us. Its power is the power we give away, and the power we will not use because we won't take responsibility. Which one wins? The one we feed the most collectively. Which world wins? The one we feed most collectively. We've been feeding this one. We need to feed the other one. And this one will be deleted. It will disappear because it will be no longer possible to manifest when the consciousness is not in the frequency on which it operates. Why am I living? Am I living life, or is life living me? That means leaving the herd, no longer being someone else and what someone else wants us to be, but being what we choose to be. Why are we always comparing ourselves with others? It doesn't matter. We are uniquely what we are. What other people are is uniquely what we are. Why are we comparing ourselves with other people? What a meaningless exercise. As Jiddu Krishnamurti said, we are always comparing what we are with what we should be. Well, what we are is what we should be. We are what we are. Celebrate the uniqueness. Kurt Cobain said, wanting to be someone else is a waste of who you are. Oh, I wish it was so-and-so. Why? It doesn't matter what you're doing. You are a unique expression of all that is, just like the person you think you should be. And this lady said, you cannot stand fully in the truth of your being as long as you continue to demand acceptance, approval, and validation from people outside of yourself. To hell with it. Be gone with it. Why do we have to validate ourselves with what other people think of us? What they think of themselves matters to them. What we think of us matters to us. Be willing to piss people off if it means standing up for the truth of who you are. No need to hide away, thinking you have to be what others tell you to be. And you know, when you get abuse for being different, you know, to be called mad by an idiot is a compliment. It's a compliment. Compliment. People say to me, you're mad. I say, thank you very much, very kind. Because if that's your perspective, I'm not too bad. It takes nothing to join the crowd. It takes everything to stand alone. Let's leave the crowd. If the crowd doing something we agree with, well, fine. But if it's not, why be part of the crowd? Just be part of the crowd. The mystic Osho said, the greatest fear in the world is of the opinions of others, and the moment you are unafraid of the crowd, you are no longer a sheep. You become a lion. A great roar rises from your heart. Heart, the roar of freedom. I am me now. I am unique me. I do not have to be what someone else tells me to be. The power and the freedom of that is indescribable. Today's mighty oak is just yesterday's nut that held its ground and refused to join the herd. Changing the world is changing ourselves, individually and collectively. We want to stay in the world, let's stay like that. We want to get out of the world, we change ourselves. That's the way it works. And it's not just about changing our being, it's expressing that as doing. And Leonardo da Vinci said, I've been impressed by the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Being is not enough, we must do. You know, people say knowledge is power. It's not. It's not. The use of knowledge is power. Knowledge not used is knowledge not worth having. A slave is one who waits for someone to come and free him. Knowledge is power when we use it. Coming from the heart is not to wait for someone to free us, but to free ourselves. Nothing strengthens authority so much as silence. People talk about the silent majority. Well, why are the majority so frickin' silent? We'd live in a different world if they weren't. Martin Luther King, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. It's all right quietly moaning about the world, but silence is compliance. We have to do what we know to be right. And with this feedback loop I'm talking about, if we accept things, the feedback loop is allowed to manifest them. What we accept, we are allowing to manifest. When we say, this is not acceptable to me, I'm not having this in my life, then the feedback loop is broken. It cannot manifest what you won't have in your life because it's not acceptable to you. We have to stop accepting what we don't want and refuse to accept it. And that breaks the feedback loop that allows it to manifest. We need to get off our frickin' knees. We've been down there too bloody long. What are we doing? We're allowing this world to manifest and not this one because we're on our frickin' knees. Why is anyone allowing themselves to conform to mandatory vaccinations? It's fascism. Who owns your body? You cannot say that your child and yourself cannot have a vaccination. That's fascism. As Bill Hicks said, what business is it of yours what I do, read, buy, see, or take into my body as long as I do not harm another human being? And for those who are having a little moral dilemma in your head about how to answer that question, I'll answer you. None of your business. None of your business. You've got to stop letting people and authority impose their will upon us. And we need to do what is right, not what is easy. And sometimes that's what we have to do when we are saying to authority, we're not having it. The spirit of change, doing what is right no matter what we are told. Crikey, I mean, we're infinite awareness. Why are we frightened of doing what we know to be right? Never, never be afraid to do what is right. Martin Luther King said, society's punishments are small compared with the wounds we inflict on our soul when we look the other way. Given what I've explained today, particularly in the last section, there's no way anymore that we can justify not doing what we know to be right. And you never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. When I was walking this journey over 30 years, and my God, it was a lonely journey for a long time. And you'd go, oh, I can't take this anymore. And you'd take some more. I can't take this anymore. And you'd take some more. And then you go through this point where you say, I can take anything. Bring it on. And that's the power. That's when you cross. That's when you cross into the power that we all are. All of us. Not me, not person down the road, all of us. Persistence. Now we've exhausted all possibilities, let's get started. No more, it's too hard, it's too hot in the kitchen. Well, don't complain when the world's not like you want it to be then. We need to be persistent and keep going. What's that song say? I get knocked down, I get up again. They're never going to keep me down. The person who says it can't be done should not interrupt the person who is doing it. No more, it's not possible. Speak your truth, walk your talk, never stop, and you'll get somewhere. Stop, oh, it's too hard, oh, the kitchen's too hot, you'll never get anywhere. And we have the power, that's the irony. The number of people in knowledge manipulating human society is tiny compared with the billions being manipulated. If only we would come together. I met this lady, Alice Walker, an author, a lovely lady, in California last year where I was speaking. She said the most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. And that's what the program wants us to believe and programs us to believe from cradle to grave. Osho said, the awakened man and woman, people are afraid, my God, this is true of authority and this control system in general. People are afraid, very much afraid of those who know themselves. They have a certain power, a certain aura, and a certain magnetism. A charisma that can take out alive young people from the traditional imprisonment. The awakened man cannot be enslaved. That is the difficulty, and he cannot be imprisoned. The awakened man or woman is the greatest stranger in the world. He does not seem to belong to anybody. No organization confines them, no community, no society, no nation. That is infinite awareness imposing its uniqueness upon the life experience and not being someone else's version of what they should be. So what is the answer? We are. It always has been. It always will be. And the great news is there's far more of us being manipulated. Millions, billions more than those doing the manipulating. And if you go on YouTube and you put in the tiny dot, you'll see an animated video, incredible. It's showing, see down there, the number of people that control the American population. It's hysterical and insane why divide and rule allows that number of people to dictate to an entire nation. We are the many, they are the few. I see a way out of this. Don't panic, unite. Come together. That's why they want to divide and rule us all the time. They're terrified of us coming together. They want the slaves fighting slaves so the slave owners can stay in control. And in the government eye, no lives matter. Let that sink in while you're looking to fight each other, where the strings are attached to all of you to keep you fighting and therefore in slavery. Don't panic, unite. I am no longer accepting things that I cannot change. It's time to change things I cannot accept. And obeying laws that enslave us is slavery. That's where slavery comes from. Disobeying laws which enslave us is where freedom comes from. People think, oh, it's the law, you've got to obey it. Not if it is designed to enslave people and take their freedom away and take their justice away. No, no, no. What are we doing? Obeying laws like that. We should be disobeying them. We should be refusing to cooperate with them because they're not acceptable to a free and open society. Martin Luther King said, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Because if we don't, these dark suits decide what the unjust laws are, and that's it. What are we doing? Oh, well, it's the law. Who cares? It's unjust. It's destroying our freedom. What are we obeying them for? Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth, Albert Einstein said, and he was right. No one rules if no one obeys. That's the fact. They come out of Parliament, we've had a discussion, we've decided to do this. The people in enough numbers say, we're not doing it. Where's their power? They have no power. Their power is, oh, it's terrible law, it's Big Brother gone mad, oh, it's Orwellian, this is, oh, we better obey it, it's the law. That's the way we get enslaved. No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not even going to have a protest about it. We're just not doing it. What happens if they stop complying, Mum? We're fucked. Exactly. That's the situation. It's a hoax. It's a confidence trick. We have the power. We have the power. Actually, you don't. Actually, we don't. It's a hoax. The authority has power. It doesn't. It's only our compliance that gives it power. Dancing to the music of life, the non-comply dance. I will not comply. I will not lie down. I will not go quietly. I will not submit. I will not roll over. I will not shut up. Ever, ever. And what are we taking it seriously for? We should be laughing at this. Oh, it's authority. What? It's a bunch of horse shit. It's madness. Why are we taking it seriously? Oh, fear, taking it seriously. It's a joke. We have a president of the United States that communicates with the world through Twitter. The potato can't be far away. We should be laughing at it. It's a joke. And their power comes from being taken seriously. Therefore, being in fear, because we take them seriously. They're a joke. It's all a joke. And it's not about me either. Me. My dot is not the only dot. Identity politics, which is what's best for me. That's taking us down this dark road. We need to say, what is right and just for everyone? Everyone. Why don't we have a win-win situation? Why for me to win, do you have to lose? Why? It doesn't have to be. It's just a choice. If it's unjust there, if injustice there, then why am I okay with it? Because it doesn't affect me? No. Injustice for anyone should affect all of us, and then there'll be no injustice, because there'll be no injustice that's not being addressed. Slaves versus slaves. Divide and rule. What are we doing? All lives matter. All lives matter. And we need to realize, this is the irony. Oh my God, there's so many ironies in the attempts to silence me in events around the world. This conspiracy is not a conspiracy to enslave Jewish people, or Muslim people, or Chinese people, or middle-class Americans. This is a conspiracy to enslave all of us, and it can only enslave all of us by dividing and ruling us, so we're fighting each other, so its enslavement is a piece of cake because we're too busy fighting each other to see what is going on. We need to realize we're in this together and come together and put the fault lines down. And without non-violence, the Matrix has you, because the Matrix wants us to be violent. It wants us to stockpile weapons. It wants us to fight the enemy. Okay, what do we do? Go into a gunfight, as some people in America want, with the government, when they've got state-of-the-art weapons? Oh, yeah, I just blew the guy away, but it was self-defense, sir. He had a gun. That's what they want. They want riots. What does rioting do? It's the virus at work. It's generating low vibrational frequency. Martin Luther King said the limitation of riots, moral questions aside, is that they cannot win. And the participants know it. Hence, rioting is not revolutionary but reactionary because it invites defeat. It involves an emotional catharsis. Oh, that showed them. But it must be followed by a sense of futility. But what changed? Nothing. This is why Soros and co. fund Antifa. This is why they want a war, a civil war in Europe and a civil war in America, because they know that riots feed the problem, don't solve it. If you're fighting the system, then you're still caught in it. It's not about fighting the system. It's about ceasing to hold it together. Non-cooperation. We cannot be in prison without our cooperation. Their power is our acquiescence, and we need to remove it and then remove our power. Red mist, getting angry, doesn't do critical thinking, even less critical knowing. Away from that. And I see in Turkey, they're now having a new form of protest where they just stand in protest. They don't yell, they don't wave banners. No yelling, no screaming, no fighting. A more efficient way of protesting, thousands of people standing in complete silence, protesting in squares and public places in Turkey, baffling the police by creating a calm curiosity instead of tension and aggression. Non-violence is the force that will change the world, as long as it's also with the energy of we are not having it, we are not complying with our own enslavement or the enslavement of others. Non-violence, Martin Luther King said, means avoiding not only external physical violence, but also internal violence of spirit. You not only refuse to shoot a man, you refuse to hate him. These people that are manipulating the Clintons and the Kissingers and all these people, I have no hate for them whatsoever, because if I have hate for them, I become them. And what is the point of that? And they are just lost in the illusion, deeply lost in the illusion and the distortion of the illusion. I'll challenge what they're doing, and I want to challenge and change what they're doing and stop what they're doing, but I don't hate them, or I become them. And in the same way, we can all agree that we're against what you might call gore war, but how much war is in our own lives, in conflicts, in our own relationships? And like I say, you don't fight for peace, you peace for peace, and that's on all levels. And when you interact with people from a heart perspective, and they come to you from a heart perspective, then that war comes to an end, because that doesn't do war. That is feeding that which is manipulating us. That will set us free, because it's removing the power source of that which is manipulating us. Think love, think peace, think harmony. And the virus must be deleted, because that does not feed it. Get off the carousel horse, chasing the one in front, thinking you're ever going to catch it, and go your own way, your own unique way, not someone else's way. The number of unique ways within infinite possibility is infinite by definition. And this is the thing. In 1991, when I was with Betty Shine and one or two other psychics at that time, in those early days when I was trying to get a fix on what was going on, one of the things that came through, and a number of them for me, was there's an energetic change coming which is going to awaken humanity from its slumber. And first of all, the most awake are going to be affected, and then eventually the solid gold asleep are going to be awakened from the slumber, and they're going to start seeing the world and themselves in a different light. And another thing I was told was going to happen in 1990 then, or 1991, was that all that had been hidden from us was going to be brought to the surface by this vibrational change. And I gave it the name Truth Vibrations, which was the name of my first book after my Wogan experience, Peru experience. Well, actually, it was before my Peru experience, I wrote that. And I said in that book, 1991, that the truth vibrations were an energetic change that will awaken humanity from its long sleep. In 1991, there was absolutely no evidence of that whatsoever. When I look at the world now, it's happening. It's happening. People are starting to stir. They're starting to awaken. They're starting to think. They're starting to look. It's not reached a tidal wave yet, but we're moving in that direction. And when it comes to all that's been hidden from us, it's going to be brought to the surface. What do we know now? We didn't know in 1991. What do we know we didn't know last year, the year before, 5 years ago? Enormous numbers of things, evidence, understandings, concepts, awareness of things we weren't aware of before have been brought to the surface in this period since, and we're only just frickin' started. This is coming down. We are in the period where this is coming down, and it could only come down in the period where it got close to its goal, because only then would it come into the world of the scene where people took it from the world of a concept, oh, a load of rubbish, mate, into it's happening, so they have to address it. This is a wonderful period we're going into, an enormously challenging period, but a wonderful period as humanity awakes through the truth vibrations from its slumber, and more people realize they are not who they thought they were, nor in a world they thought they were in. The world is awakening. It is awakening. I've seen it all around the world. Because I've traveled around the world constantly for nearly 30 years, I've seen the change when I've gone back to places. It's happening. The tide is turning. And we have an opportunity now for this nonsense to end. An era, said Arthur Miller, can be said to come to an end when its illusions are exhausted. Well, we're starting to see the illusions, where the illusions, therefore, can be exhausted. Awaken to infinite awareness, awaken to all possibility. Realize that we're all that is, has been, and ever can be. And the world must change. And allowing our children, or encouraging our children, helping our children, not to fall into the perceptual clutches of the system. They're not born to be slaves. They're born to be free. And we must help them realize that. They don't have to conform. Came across this great piece of writing by a guy called Shel Silverstein. Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves, then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. Our children can be anything they want to be. But if they're going to have that freedom, we must protect them from the clutches of the perceptual program. When we stand together, the tyranny is over. It's the fact that we have a tyranny at all. When we love each other, the tyranny is over. And how about this for a political manifesto? I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. My wisdom flows from the highest source. I recognize that source in you. Let's work together. And let me say this. Let me say this to the hate groups that are trying to silence me. I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. My wisdom flows from the highest source. I recognize that source in you. Let's work together. Let's put down the conflict, the nonsense, and the illusions that hold us in servitude. I am love, you are love, we are infinite awareness. Infinite love is the only truth. Everything else is illusion. We are one, yes, but this needs to come out of the level of concept and intellect into living it in our daily interactions with different people. Love each other. That is the revolution. That is the revolution. We do that, it all changes. And as Buddha said, or he's claimed to have said, a wise man, recognizing that the world is but an illusion, does not act as if it is real, so escapes the suffering. We need to take the fact that this is illusion out of the realms of concept and intellect and into the way we interact with it. It's all an illusion. And Bill Hicks used to end his act like this. He's a very awake man, Bill Hicks. He took a lot of psychoactive drugs, saw the illusion beyond the physical. And he used to end his act like this. It's like a ride in an amusement park. And when you go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. The ride goes up and down, round and round. It has thrills and chills. And it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real? Or is this just a ride? And others have remembered it, and they come back to us and they say, hey, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride. And we kill those people. Shut him up, I've got a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up. Look at my furrows of worry and my family, my big bank account. This has to be real. It's just a ride. And we always kill those good guys that try to tell us that and let the demons run amok. But it doesn't matter, because it's just a ride. And we can change it anytime we want. No job, no savings of money. Just a choice right now between fear and love. And that's all the choice has ever been. This is the world we live in. This is the world we live in. This is the world that we can replace that with and turn this tyranny into the paradise it once was and can be again. This is the key. I hope you've enjoyed the day. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Handwritten letters torn to pieces, put back together. Read and reread it. Do you wanna live in a body worn and thin? Do you wanna give your best years to him? Or do you wanna breathe free from pain relief? Do you wanna see a world that's yours? Just let the light in. Let